Good morning. So we are the group 3, but I am the one who report this lesson 5. Our topic for today is all about the concept of trade and various trade theories. Theories of trade patterns. Trade theories are different theories that expand our understanding of how government trade policy might affect business competitiveness. For instance, they provide insight on favorable locales and products for exports, thereby helping companies determine where to locate their productions facilities when governments do or do not impose trade restrictions. Mercantilism is the oldest trade theory, out of which new mercantilism has more recently emerged. This trade theory holds that a country's wealth is measured by its holding of treasures, which usually means its gold. According to this theory, which formed the foundation of economic thought from about 1,500 to 1,800 countries, should export more than they import and, if successful, receive gold from countries that run deficits. During the mercantilist era, a favorable balance of trade, also called a trade surplus, still indicates that a country is exporting more than it imports. An unfavorable balance of trade, also known as a trade deficit, indicates the opposite. Many of these terms are misnomers. For example, the word favorable implies benefit, and the word unfavorable suggests disadvantage, and in fact, it is not necessarily beneficial to run a trade surplus or detrimental to run a trade deficit. Next, free trade theories. The market will determine which producers survive as consumers by those products that best serve their needs. Both free trade theories imply specializations, just as individuals and families produce some things that they exchange for things that others produce. National specialization means producing some things for domestic consumption and export while using the import earning to buy imports of products and services produced abroad. Theories of absolute advantage. This theory of absolute advantage holds that different countries produce some goods more efficiently than others, and question why the citizens of any country should have to buy domestically produced goods when they can buy them more cheaply from abroad. Through specialization, it could increase its efficiency for three reasons. Labor could become more skilled by repeating the same task. Next, labor would not lose time in switching production from one kind of product to another. Last, long production runs will provide incentives for developing more effective working methods. Smith believed the marketplace would make the determination. He thought that the country advantage would be either natural or acquired. Country's natural advantage in creating a product or services comes from climatic conditions, access to certain natural resources, or availability of certain labor forces. For example, Costa Rica's climate and soil support the productions of banana, pineapples, and coffee, while its biodiversity supports a thriving ecotourism industry. Costa Rica imports wheat. Countries that are competitive in manufactured goods have an acquired advantage. Usually it's either product or process technology. An advantage of product technology is that enables a country to produce a unique product or one that easily distinguished from those of competitors. For example, Denmark exports silver tableware not because they are rich Danish silver mines but because Danish companies have developed distinctive products. Theory of comparative advantage. In 1817, David Ricardo examined the question what happens when one country can produce all products and at absolute advantage. His resulting theory of comparative advantage say that global efficiency gains may still result from trade if a country specializes in what it can produce most efficiently, regardless of other countries' absolute advantage. Although the theory may seem initially encouraging, an analogy should clarify its logic. Assumptions and limitations of the absolute and comparative advantage theories. Thus, but absolute and comparative advantage theories are based on increasing output and trade through specializations. However, these theories make assumptions of which are not always valid. The theories of absolute and comparative advantage both assume that resources are fully employed. When countries have many unemployed or unused resources, they may seek to restrict imports to employ or use only resources. Our analogy also assumes that the position is interested primarily in maximizing income. Trade pattern theories. The free trade theories demonstrate how economic growth occurs through specializations and trade. However, they do not deal with trade patterns such as how much a country trades, what product it trades, or who will be its trading partners when following free trade policy. In this section, we discuss the theories that help explain these patterns. How much does a country trade? Theory of country size hold that large countries usually depend less on trade than small ones. Countries with large land areas are apt to have varied climates and assortment of natural resources, making them more self-sufficient than smaller ones. Theory of economic size helps explain differences in the absolute amount of trade. 9 of the world's top 10 exporting in 2012 were developed countries, and the only exception was China, which is the world's second largest economy. What types of products does a country trade? Factor promotions theory was developed by Elie Heckscher and Bertil Ohlin, maintaining that differences in countries' endowments of labor compared to land or capital endowments explain differences in the cost of production factors. With do country trade? Countries similarity theory says that companies create new products in response to market conditions in their home market. They then turn to markets and consumer economic levels they see as most similar to what they are accustomed to. However, in order to import, a company must provide consumers abroad with advantage over what they could buy from their domestic producers. The statistics and dynamics of trade. Product life cycle, or shall I say PLC. Theory is a trade theory that states that the production location of certain manufactured products shifts as they go through their life cycle. The cycle consists of 4 stages: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Introduction stage. Once a company has created a new product, theoretically it can manufacture it anywhere in the world. In practice, however, the early production stage, called the introductory stage, generally occurs in a domestic location so the company can obtain rapid market feedback and save on transport costs, since most sales are domestic. Next, growth stage. Sales growth attracts competitors to the market, particularly in other developed countries. Let's say the innovator is in the United States and a competitor puts a manufacturing unit in Japan. The Japanese production is sold mainly in Japan for several reasons. First, the growing demand there does not allow for much attention to another market. Second, producers they stay occupied in developing unique product variation for Japanese consumer. Third, Japanese costs may still be high because of production start-up problems. Maturity stage. In this stage, worldwide demand begins to level off. Although it may be growing in some countries and declining in others, typically there is a shakeout of producers, more standardized production, and increased importance of price as a competitive weapon. Capital-intensive production reduces per unit cost, thus creating even more demand in developing economies. Decline stage. As a product moves into the decline stage, those factors occurring during the maturity stage continue to evolve. The markets in developed countries decline more rapidly than those in developing economies, as affluent customers demand even newer products. The diamond of national competitive advantage theory is a theory showing four features as important competitive superiority. Two with demand conditions, factor condition, related and supporting industries, and firm strategy factors and rivalry. All four conditions need to be favorable for an industry within a country to attain and maintain global supremacy. Demand conditions are the first feature in the theory. Both PLC theory and country similarity theory show that new products or industries usually arise from companies' observations of need or demand, which has traditionally been in their home country where they start out production. Factor condition influence both the choice of tile to meet consumer demand and the choice of Italy as the production locations. Wood was expensive and most productions factor skilled labor, capital, technology and equipment were available within Italy on favorable terms. Related and supporting industry was favorable feature. Recall for instance the importance of transport cost in the theory of country size in assumptions of specialization and in the limiting factors of the PLC theory. Firm strategy, factors and rivalry, the combination of three features, demand, factor condition, and related and supporting industry, influence companies' decision to initiate production of ceramic tiles in post-war Italy. Factor mobility theory. Factor mobility theory is a trade theory which focuses on why production factors move, the effects of the movement on transforming factor endowments, and the impact of international factors mobility, especially people, on world trade. Why do production factors move? Capital. Capital, especially short-term capital, is the most internationally mobile production factor. Companies and private individuals primarily transfer capital because of differences in expected return, accounting for rest. People. People are less mobile or less movable than capital. Some, of course, travel to other countries as tourists, students, and retirees. However, this does not affect factor endowments because these travelers do not work in the destination countries, unlike funds that can be cheaply transferred by wire People usually must incur high transportation costs to work abroad. The effects and relationship between trade and factor mobility. The effect. A controversial issue is the effect of outward migration on countries. On the one hand, countries lose potentially productive resources when educated people leave, a situation known as a brain drain. On the other hand, they may receive money from those people. Developing countries have lost people with substantial work skills. However, many of these people are now sending remittances back. In fact, remittance flows to developing countries for 2011 were estimated at US $372 billion. The relationships, substitutions. When the factors from proportions vary widely among countries, pressures exist for the most abundant factors to move to countries with greater scarcity where they can they can command a better return. In countries where labor is more abundant than capital, laborers tend to be unemployed or poorly paid. The relationships. Complementarity. Companies' investments abroad often stimulate exports from their home countries. In fact, about a third of world exporting takes place among companies controlled entities, such as from the firm's parents to their subsidiaries, from their subsidiaries to the parents, and from subsidiary to subsidiary.